Let's talk Yainer Diaz and more prospect promotions. Up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Tuesday, August 22nd. I am Frank Samfeld, joined by Scott White. And let's start things off with Yainer Diaz, the catcher / first baseman for the Houston Astros, who went 2 for 5 with his 18th home run. The playing time remains. It's something we were worried about when Yordan Alvarez returned, but Diaz has started 5 of the past 6 games, playing a little bit more first base. Scott, how would you rank this group of catchers? They're all pretty hot right now. Diaz, Cal Raleigh, MJ Melendez, and Keibert Ruiz.
Melendez last. I don't think he's in the same category, so let's just leave him out. I think in points leagues, we got to make a special exception for Keibert Ruiz at the top because his strikeout rate is so low, and that keeps him from losing points at nearly the same clip these others do on strikeouts. I mean, he has the second best strikeout rate among qualifiers, I believe. Luis Arias is the only one who's better. So Keibert Ruiz, number 1 in points leagues. But in any other format, I think I am ready to put Diaz number 1. If he's going to play as often as any other catcher, and that appears to be the case with first base now open and now deemed an acceptable route for him, like they're willing to put up with Diaz at first base to get his bat in the lineup. And Jose Abreu hasn't even started taking swings yet at last report, so his return doesn't appear to be on the horizon, and Yainer Diaz just continues to deliver. 18th home run of the season on Monday, 3rd in his last 5 games. He's been awesome, and now the playing time is more consistent than ever.
All right, let's talk about these prospects, Scott. We've got more on the way. The Yankees are starting their youth movement. Finally, they plan to promote outfield prospect Everson Pereira. They're also recalling Oswald Peraza on Tuesday. Pereira is a 22-year-old outfielder who was batting .300 with 18 home runs, 11 steals, and a .921 OPS between AA and AAA. Scott, your interest level in Everson Pereira and Oswald Peraza?
It's minimal. I mean, in Peraza's case, this is the 3rd or 4th trip he's made to the majors, and he hasn't done anything with those opportunities yet. So, I mean, this probably will be the most consistent playing time he will have gotten so far. It sounds like the Yankees are just going to let these young guys play down the stretch. But the point is, when a prospect's come up and as many times as Peraza has and hasn't done anything worthwhile in fantasy, he kind of loses some of his luster. People aren't as interested in buying in. So there's not a lot of competition for his services now. I think you can certainly wait to see if he performs before putting in a claim for him. The same is true for Pereira, even though this is his initial call-up. I just don't think he's the same caliber of prospect. He does hit the ball very hard. The power is legit, but the plate discipline is terrible. So it's a classic case of unstoppable force versus a movable object. How is this going to play out for Everson Pereira? You know, we've seen with players like Christopher Morel, it can play out pretty well, but it also goes the other way pretty often too, with Joe Adell, for instance. So I'm not sure exactly where Pereira is going to fall in that spectrum, but it does seem like the Yankees are going to give him lots of play down the stretch. So if nothing else, you need to keep an eye on him.
2 other outfield prospects promoted were Parker Meadows with the Detroit Tigers. He's actually the brother of Austin Meadows, a former second-round pick from back in 2018. This season in the minors was hitting .256 with 19 home runs, 19 steals, and an .811 OPS. And announced late on Monday night, the Red Sox are planning to promote outfield prospect Wilyer Abreu, a 24-year-old who was batting .274 with 22 home runs in the minors this season. Scott, how would you rank Parker Meadows, Wilyer Abreu, and Everson Pereira?
So I think they're basically in the same category. I'm going to put Pereira number 1 because he has the most upside and he has the clearest opportunity, I think. I was concerned at this Wilyer Abreu news because I'm like, well, where is he going to play? They're already overloaded in the outfield, but it sounds like Jarren Duran may be going on the IL with the toe injury, so that would create an opportunity for Abreu, who, you know, is deliver good power numbers with a high OBP in the minors. Now, the power for Wilyer Abreu, as opposed to him just clobbering the ball, it's more about him putting the ball in the air a lot. So that might compromise his batting average, especially since right field in Fenway Park is big. Probably not going to play much against against left-handers, I should say, either, is Wilyer Abreu. But, there does appear to be genuine upside there. And Parker Meadows, I think he has the least offensive potential of the three, but he is a base stealer to the extent that the other two aren't. And he plays good defense. So that might earn him a big share of the playing time, even if he is not quite hitting as well as those other two are. I think Meadows is the least likely of the three to become a long-term asset in mixed leagues, but he does do some things that the other two don't.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.